Today, we dive in to learn about the amazing country of Jamaica. Known for its beautiful beaches, friendly people, and some of the fastest humans on earth, Jamaicans are also universally recognized for their own version of English known as patois. And no, I won't even try to speak it. I'll be leaving that to the pros. What else can we learn about the island that locals affectionately call Jamrock? Stay tuned to find out.
My name is Ryan, and on this channel I research and share where a country is, its history, and government.
I also explore the people, products, and ideas that each culture has had to help shape the lives of people around the world. What did you find interesting about Jamaica, and what did I miss? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to learn more about our global community, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs.
Located just south of Cuba and west of Hispaniola, Jamaica is the third largest island in the Caribbean Sea. The capital is Kingston, home to the 7th largest natural harbor in the world. The name Jamaica comes from the indigenous Taino word Jamaica, meaning land of wood and water or land of springs. Their tropical weather makes it a popular destination for visitors. More on that later in the episode. And while it does have some flat coastal plains, the interior is dominated by mountains.
The most famous are the Blue Mountains, which dominate the eastern third of the island,
and is especially known for being the home of Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee, one of the most premium and desired types of coffee in the world. In fact, over 80% of all Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee is exported to Japan. Jamaica is well known for its water-based attractions such as 7 Mile Beach, picturesque river falls, and mineral baths located at hot springs. I wonder if it can cure my addiction to coffee. 3 little birds pitch on my doorstep, singing sweet songs.
For such a tiny country, Jamaica's influence on the music scene has been massive.
Reggae was developed in the 1960s and is a style of popular music blending blues, calypso, and rock and roll. It's known for having a strong syncopated rhythm and lyrics that are often about social protest. It's also said to be based on ska, an earlier form of Jamaican music. A 1968 single by Toots and the Maytals, Do the Reggae, was the first popular song to use the word reggae, effectively naming the genre and introducing it to an international audience. But there are a few theories on how the name came about. Famous early reggae artists include Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, which might be my favorite name ever, Jimmy Cliff, and some guy named Bob Marley. More on him later in the episode. Popular current Jamaican music include dancehall and reggae. The best explanation I could find in explaining the difference is that dancehall is a rougher, bouncier, and more fun version of reggae that you can really dance to. Reggae, short for ragamuffin, grew out of the growth of the MC and the shift from sung lyrics to toasting, which is a rasping, shouted form of rapping designed to hype a crowd. Popular artists in these genres include Vybz Kartel, Buju Banton, Shabba Ranks, Shaggy, Sean Paul, and one of my favorites as a teenager, Mad Cobra. It has also been an inspiration to many current artists such as Rihanna and Drake.
Let me know in the comments if I'm right or if there's a better way to describe dancehall and reggae.
While it was created in New York, the father of hip-hop music is DJ Kool Herc, a Jamaican-born artist who would use 2 turntables to extend breaks in songs, giving breakdancers more time to dance. Asked by his sister who wanted to make some extra money for back-to-school clothes, Herc hosted a back-to-school jam using his new techniques in August of 1973. He also coined the terms B-boys and B-girls to describe the dancers. His announcements and urging on of the dancers led to another worldwide musical genre, rap. Herc helped make great changes to the music scene, but it's unknown whether his little sister got enough money for the clothes she wanted. I sure hope so. Rastafarianism is an internationally known religion that started in Jamaica in the 1930s. They believe Africans are a part of the biblical lost tribe of Israel, and many view former Ethiopian King Haile Selassie as a prophet. Some believing that he was the second coming of Jesus. Selassie's name at birth was Rastafari Makinen, giving the Rastas their name. Their beliefs include living naturally and not cutting their hair, as that is where they believe their strength comes from. Rastas follow the Ital or natural diet, which includes not drinking alcohol or eating meat. Many know them for smoking cannabis, which most of them do, and they also see Africa, most specifically Ethiopia, as the promised land. Chocolate milk was created in Jamaica by Irish botanist Sir Hans Sloane in the late 1600s. When local Jamaicans introduced him to chocolate and water, he was not a fan. So he dropped the water, added milk and some sugar, and the rest is history. But there are some who believe chocolate milk was already a part of Jamaica for much longer. The indigenous Taino were believed to be brewing cacao shavings, milk, and cinnamon when Columbus arrived in 1494. Putting cinnamon in your chocolate milk. I'll be right back. Gotta try that out.
Trust me, we got the power to change the world.
Jamaica was first inhabited in the 7th century by the Red Ware people. often associated with redware pottery, and were followed by the Arawak tribes, including the Tainos hundreds of years before the arrival of Columbus in 1494.
We hear Arawak influence on our everyday lives.
The words barbecue, hammock, canoe, tobacco, and hurricane all come from the Arawak language. While searching for gold, Christopher Columbus landed on Jamaica on May 5, 1494, beginning the Spanish colonial period. The Spanish enslaved the Arawak, with most dying due to European diseases or overwork. The Spanish brought the first slaves from Africa, and we will dive into the heritage of Jamaica's African population in a bit. After the English took control of the island in 1655, the Spanish left and the remaining Africans moved to the mountain interior of the country, intermarrying with the remaining Arawak people. They lived in independent free communities and became known as Maroons.
As you would expect, relations between those who had been slaves and those who still had them wasn't always the best, and as a result, they would fight sometimes.
The most interesting person from that time was a woman by the name of Queen Nanny. The leader of the Windward Maroons, Nanny led her people in the First Maroon War. She was a master of camouflage and guerrilla warfare, and is credited with being the one who united the Maroons across Jamaica and played a major role in the preservation of African culture and knowledge on the island. There are all kinds of crazy legends surrounding this amazing woman, the most impressive being that she could catch a bullet with her buttocks. I don't know if that's possible, but the government of Jamaica did declare Queen Nanny a national hero in 1975. The Christmas Rebellion of 1831 and 32 was an 11-day rebellion that started on Christmas in 1831 and involved up to 60,000 of the 300,000 slaves in the colony of Jamaica. Led by Samuel Sharp, enslaved workers demanded more freedom and a working wage of half of the going rate. The rebellion exploded on December 27th when slaves set fire to Kensington Estate in the hills above Montego Bay. The British enlisted the help of Maroon colonies to fight the enslaved, and the rebellion was put down. In all, 207 rebels were killed and a few hundred more were executed. Freedom would come to the people of Jamaica just over a year later when Parliament passed the Slavery Abolition Act of 1833, ending slavery in British-held territories. Port Royal near Kingston was once known as the most wicked city in the world. In the 1600s, it was home to privateers who would attack and plunder Spanish ships in the Caribbean. When England signed a peace treaty with Spain, privateers continued to plunder illegally, becoming pirates. Known for its insane amount of wealth and loose morals, it became a meeting place for pirates from as far away as Madagascar. Much changed after the appointment of Captain Morgan, yeah, that Captain Morgan, as lieutenant governor, who had been sent to end piracy in Jamaica, which is ironic because he was a pirate. The earthquake and following tsunami of 1692 devastated it further. Afterwards, Port Royal's commercial role was taken over by their neighbor Kingston. There have been efforts to restore Port Royal as a tourist destination, but without the pirates. In 1845, 20 years after the first railway was built in Great Britain, Jamaica became the first Western country outside of Europe and North America to construct a railroad system.
You will never understand what I went through. You never were a good listener.
Anytime you look at the Atlantic slave trade, you'll find that people from many places in Africa ended up in any given point in the New World. But research shows that the majority of Jamaica's people came from the Akan people of present-day Ghana and the Igbo of Nigeria. The Akan, specifically their Asante subgroup, were the largest group early on, with many eventually becoming Maroons. The majority to come during the 17 and 1800s were from the Bight of Biafra and were members of the Igbo. African traditions can still be seen in Jamaican life today, from the use of language in Jamaican patois to the many traditions that are still practiced in Jamaica.
Instead of trying to highlight a few of the many Jamaican African traditions, I'd like to hear what your traditions are in the comments.
Especially if you live in Jamaica or another Caribbean island. The most famous Jamaican internationally is Bob Marley, a singer, songwriter, and the man who spread reggae throughout the world. Universally accepted as one of the greatest musicians the world has ever seen, Marley passed away too soon in 1981 due to cancer, but his legacy lives on. He achieved many great accomplishments during his lifetime, including serving as a world ambassador for reggae music, earning induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1994, and selling more than 20 million records.
One of my favorite songs of all time is Redemption Song. What's your favorite Bob Marley song? Let me know in the comments.
Jamaican-born Marcus Garvey was a black nationalist and leader of the Pan-Africanism movement, which worked to unify and connect people of African descent worldwide. An early civil rights leader, he founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or UNIA, with the intention of creating a separate but equal status for people of African ancestry, and promoted the idea of African Americans moving back to Africa and starting their own country, perhaps in or near Liberia. He even founded the Black Star Shipping Line to help in the effort. Louise Bennett Coverley, affectionately affectionately known as Miss Lou, was a poet, folklorist, and writer who would perform her poems in patois, working to preserve the practice of presenting art in patois. According to Dr. Basil Bryan, Consul General of Jamaica, Bennett was an inspiration to Jamaicans as she proudly presented the Jamaican language and culture to a wider world. The fastest person in the recorded history of our planet is the appropriately named Usain Bolt. An 11-time world champion, he holds the world records for fastest times in the 100 and 200 meter races. Many of the fastest people in the world, including Bolt, come from Trelawney Parish in the northern part of the island. There are a ton of theories as to why Jamaican sprinters are the best in the world, ranging from a speed gene inherited from their West African ancestors to the psychic influence of their maroon ancestors. Regardless of reason, 19 of the 26 fastest times ever recorded in 100-meter races were by Jamaicans.
Why do you think that Jamaica, home to only 2.8 million people, have the fastest people in the world? Please share your thoughts in the comments.
From the world's fastest to some of the greatest spellers, Jamaica has had great success in the Scripps National Spelling Bee. Jamaican Joni Ann Maxwell is still the only non-American to win the event, doing so in 1998 by spelling chiaroscurus correctly. I think I said that right. Jamaicans have a long history in spelling things correctly, often placing near the top of the leaderboards. Jerk is a style of cooking native to Jamaica in which meat is dry rubbed or wet marinated with a hot spice mixture called Jamaican jerk spice. To get a better idea of what jerk is, I asked the co-owner of Taste to Heaven Island Jerk in Millsboro, Delaware, and a friend, Dane. With his partner Slim, they make the best jerk chicken and barbecue ribs I have ever had.
Jerk chicken is the way they used to cook the chicken, over pimento wood. You know what you call allspice? It grows on a tree.
Yeah.
And that tree, they'd break the branches, they'd start a fire underneath, and they'd almost, if you can imagine the tree being the grates, the limbs being like the grates, and then the fire underneath, and then that's how they cook it. And then when they move the chicken, right, they'd spin the logs, right, and the chicken would jerk. And yeah, for real, and that's how they came up with jerk. What jerk is now, like my jerk, is really just a blend of spices that we use to create a certain experience in your mouth, you know what I mean?
Historians believe that the style was developed by the Maroons, who adapted to the land and made use of the natural food sources available to them. Jamaica is also known for its alcoholic beverages, including Red Stripe beer and Appleton Estates rum, whose 50-year-old limited edition bottles are among the most expensive in the world at over $6,000 a bottle. The most expensive? 1940s J. Ray and Nephew, which was distilled in Kingston, goes for $54,000 a bottle, but you need to buy it soon as there's only a couple left. The national dish is ackee and saltfish. Ackee is a fruit native to West Africa and the fish is salted codfish. It's usually served for breakfast. Usain Bolt has it for breakfast, maybe he's onto something.
At sundown, come down, think about where we are.
Jamaica is a parliamentary democracy under a constitutional monarchy. In 1962, Jamaica became the first Caribbean country to gain independence from the United Kingdom. Despite claiming independence, it chose to remain a member of the Commonwealth. Therefore, Queen Elizabeth II is still their head of state. The government is led by Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who is the head of the Jamaican Labour Party. The Queen chooses her Governor General, or representative to the country, largely on the recommendation of the Prime Minister. Currently, Patrick Allen holds the position. Parliament meets at Gordon House in Kingston, and the official residence of the Governor General and the Queen is King's House. If it looks familiar, it was a site in the James Bond movie Dr. No. More on that near the end of the video. In the 17th and 18th century, Jamaica was among the largest sugar producers in the world. Today, Jamaica is still among the leading producers of bauxite and alumina. These natural resources are used for the production of aluminum metal.
Other major exports include coffee, sugar, and yam.
A quarter of all jobs in Jamaica are centered around its tourism industry, and about 4 million people visit it each year. Many visiting by all-inclusive resorts and cruise ship. Many visit Ocho Rios to see Dunn's River Falls or the Blue Hole. Montego Bay for its resorts and hip strip, and Negril, whose 7-mile beach is widely considered to be one of the best in the world. There are so many things to do in Jamaica, but as a word of warning, not everyone looks good in braids or dreadlocks.
I wanna get away, but I could use some company.
Although Jamaica is in many ways an island paradise, many have left the island for better job opportunities. There are about 2 million Jamaicans living abroad, with just over 1 million living in the United States alone. Most of the rest live in the United Kingdom, Canada, or other Caribbean islands. Remittances, or money sent back home to loved ones in Jamaica, is also a major source of income for the people of Jamaica.
As much as Jamaica have a lot of people leaving, We also have a lot of people who invest in the island, who leave.
Like remittances.
Remittance, yeah, that's the word. They send like there's a lot of remittances. You know what I mean? As much as you have the brain drain, but you have to also look on the balance side, which is that you also have a lot of remittances,
So it's a lot of people.
which help boost the economy, you know?
A lot of people moving for better job opportunities so that they can support their family.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. A lot of people still under the job opportunity. Not even support them family, but like really take them thing to a different level quicker, you know what I mean?
The largest population of Jamaicans living in America can be found near New York City and Miami. One of the largest and most famous Jamaican expatriate communities in Great Britain is in Brixton, South London. On the last bank holiday of the year during late August, the annual Notting Hill Carnival, a Caribbean and Jamaican-inspired event, takes place in West London and is the second biggest street party in the world after Rio Carnival.
The largest number of Canadian Jamaicans can be found near the city of Toronto.
Notable people living abroad with Jamaican ancestry include United States Vice President Kamala Harris, whose father was from Jamaica. British model Naomi Campbell's mother was Jamaican and part Chinese Jamaican. It's a good time to mention that Jamaica also has sizable European and Asian populations. Canadian Jamaican Donovan Bailey was the greatest Canadian sprinter of all time, which makes sense. Come to think of it, their second greatest sprinter was Ben Johnson, who was born in Jamaica. In what cannot be a coincidence, Linford Christie, the greatest British sprinter of all time, also had Jamaican parents. English football Raheem Sterling, known for his world-class speed, was also born in Jamaica. Are you noticing a trend? Legendary singer Harry Belafonte was born in Harlem, but both of his parents were from Jamaica, his mother being Scottish Jamaican. Other American musicians with Jamaican roots include Shaggy, the Notorious B.I.G., Queen Latifah, and Busta Rhymes.
Saw her walking in the sunset.
For a tropical country not known for snow, Jamaica has famously participated in snowy events, beginning with the Jamaican bobsled team competing in the 1988 Calgary Olympics. They crashed out of their first Olympics, but their story became the basis of the Disney movie Cool Runnings. Jamaica continues to have a bobsled team qualifying for most Winter Olympics. Jamaica added a women's team in 2018. Taking it a step further is the Jamaican dog sled team, headquartered at Chukka Caribbean Adventures in Ocho Rios. The dog team is made up of strays who are rescued and offers dryland dog sled rides. In 2008, mushers Damian Robb and Newton Marshall began competing on snow, with Marshall becoming the first Jamaican to compete in and to finish Alaska's legendary Iditarod in 2010. He finished the 1,100-mile race in 12 days and 4 hours, placing 47th out of 71 mushers.
Let me go, let me say everything is not okay.
The national flag of Jamaica is the only national flag in the world that does not have the colors of red, white, or blue.
But the colors they did choose, black, green, and yellow, perfectly describe a place and people known to do things their own way. Black represents hardship, especially their hard past. Green stands for hope and agriculture, and yellow indicates wealth and the beauty of the sun. And finally, British author Ian Fleming wrote all 12 James Bond novels while at his home, Goldeneye, on the Oracabessa Bay in Jamaica. 2 Bond films, Dr. No and Live and Let Die, were filmed near Fleming's Jamaican home. Many of the characters' names were named after the local birds Flemings knew of and even cocktails. What were some of the most interesting things you learned about Jamaica and what did I miss? Please let me know in the comments. We next travel to the beautiful country of Peru, home of Machu Picchu, the potato, and ceviche. Be sure to let me know in the comments or on our Facebook page what you know about Peru. Until next time, thank you for joining me and learning about the global community.
Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon.